Kia ora everyone, welcome to Hawke's Bay Regional Council meeting for September. Warm welcome to you all, councillors, members, staff, exec and those watching online. To open, please, now we have a new audience, although we've come out of workshop. Councillor Hawke, would you like to open us with the karakia for the council meeting? Kia ora.
Ka pai, kia ora tātou. Kua karakia ki tātou i mua i tēnei hui anō, anei e tehi kupu te reo e amene atu ki te tātou nei kaihanga kia tāpiri atu. Whiti ora ki te whai au ki te marama, whiti ki runga, whiti ki raro, e ngungu ki te pohatu, ki te rākau, titaha ki tēnei tā, titaha ki te rātaha. Turu o whiti whakamaua kia tīna.
Tīna.
Aumi hui e.
Tai ki, kia ora. Thank you for that opening. Apologies we have from Tanya Hopmans, Councillor Sears, Councillor Williams, and then leaving early, Councillor Hokianga. Kia ora.
Sears is on the screen.
Oh, kia ora. Councillor Sears, you finished travelling. Oh, great, you can join us. Look like you're on a plane.
Looks like you're on you're on a train or something.
On a train. Thanks for joining us.
Keeps coming into focus.
Appreciate it. Are there any notices for today's meeting? There are none. Any conflict of interest declarations in today's items? There are none. Confirmation of minutes from the last council meeting held on the 28th of August. Are there any additions or corrections to be made? If there are none, can I please have a mover of those minutes? Councillor Van Beek and Councillor Harding. All those who agree say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. I believe we have no one here for the public forum session. So moving on, call for minor items not on the agenda. There are none for today. So we move into our decision items, which are all quite straightforward today, team. We have recommendations from committees, a remuneration item, and then future farming charitable trust for Hawke's Bay Board appointment. So to lead out, item 6, the Climate Action Joint Committee amended terms of reference. Who would like to lead out on this? Desiree usually is here.
Yeah, she's been called away through you, Chair. I understand the Climate Action Joint Committee has looked to amend its terms of reference and as a result has presented that amended terms of reference to this to this council, and I assume that the other members of those committees from other councils are doing the same to their constituent councils as well. So very much a procedural item. I don't know if the chair of the Climate Action Joint Committee would like to add to that.
Yeah, sure. Just noting that the main changes here are representatives changed over and also change of terms of reference to who the chair can be. But in that meeting, I asked the committee if I could step aside from chair, and I nominated Zan Harding, Councillor Zan Harding, to take that position, and for Di Roadley to be our permanent representative, and I would be the alternate. So those are the major changes made there. Councillor Harding, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, just very briefly. Thank you, Chair. Look, I'd just say that there's a couple other little changes there just to make things procedurally a little bit more efficient and enduring. I just want to also note that Deputy Chair Councillor Hayley Brown is very well respected and received, certainly by me as to the greatest extent possible, working very much in a partnership around the chairing, although respecting the need of the law to have a chair, and happy to take on that responsibility. Thank you.
Any questions regarding this paper? Councillor Van Beek.
Yeah, just got a question regarding the climate change ambassador role has changed.
Yes.
Is there any explanation as to how it has changed, or where can I find that?
Through you, Chair, our previous incumbent left the role and moved overseas. We have employed a new staff member. The job title has changed slightly. Happy to provide you a summary of what that looks like.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Right, if there are no other questions, can I have a mover and a seconder to receive and approve the recommendations? Councillor Van Beek, Councillor Di Roadley. Would you like to speak any
I
further?
think that's them.
Councillor Di Roadley? No. All those who agree say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 7, the recommendations from Corporate and Strategic Committee. Councillor Harding, you're the chair of this committee. Would you like to provide any overview?
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Chair. Just very briefly, I'd say, essentially want to commend the staff for the action around minimising carry forwards. We are faced with a cash deficit provisional around 7 million, adjusted down to about a deficit of 2 million in general funds after investments. So if for no other reason, then is a very good reason to avoid this year any carry forwards for operational expense from general funds. So everything that's now presented and we discussed, and there was detail provided for every one of these carry forwards in the papers to Corporate and Strategic, is all from non-operating funds. So that was one thing we talked about. And is this paper also dealing with, so the annual compliance monitoring and enforcement report. And we just noted the excellent work done by staff around compliance monitoring and enforcement in very trying conditions for that year, the cyclone year. And we look forward to probably in the next 6 months getting a report for 23-24. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harding. Are there any questions regarding this paper? Quick check that those were the decisions that we made in that committee. 1, 2, 3 and 4 that are in the recommendations. We are happy with those. Councillor Harding, would you like to move?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
And Councillor McIntosh, you'd like to second. Would you like to say anything further?
No.
Councillor McIntosh or
No, thank you.
Harding? No other speakers? All those who agree say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 8, recommendations from the EICC committee. Councillor Sears, are you capable of speaking where you are?
Capable of speaking, but
And not sound a little weird in your situation?
I think I will sound a little weird. I might let Councillor Roadley take that.
We can't hear you very well, Councillor Sears.
I think I'll let Councillor Roadley take that.
Councillor Roadley, okay. Councillor Roadley.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Soph. Yes, just in brief from our EICC meeting on the 11th of September, we had a great presentation from the Coastal and River Birds Survey, which showed a 15 to 51% decrease in those birds, which was pretty concerning, and there was some real uncertainty around what had caused that decline, and this is post Gabrielle. The staff had put that down to the mortality being due to habitat destruction post the event, and then including the reduction of their food supply, and potentially some of those birds moving to different locations. They did say it was unlikely that the mortality was due to the event itself, because they are birds and they can get out of the way. We had the Great LiDAR mapping project, which gives us a whole lot more tools for how we can see what's happening on the land, including vegetation erosion. The 3D aquifer mapping project came to a close, and they did a great presentation on the mahi that has been done there, giving us the ability to look 300 metres down into the ground, which is quite outstanding, looking at hard masses being rocks and where the water is, where that water's moving, and the size of the water. The size as in the area, not actually the quantity of water, which was a big question from those attending that meeting. And then moving on to today's paper, thank you staff, we are looking at the annual biosecurity operational plan, and just wanted to note the great work that those staff have done in the new pest that arrived in Aotearoa over last year, which was the alligator weed and the Senegal tea. And perhaps, Ian, did you want to talk further about that? So the plan is there for reading, the annual plan for the biodiversity operationals. I think the rest is all pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you, Councillor Rodley. There are no further questions from that meeting. Councillor Van Beek.
Yeah, just a question regarding the paper on 2.2. Here's a special mention made about feral cats and that they're well established in the region. During the meeting, unfortunately, that wasn't highlighted. It seems like there is a real issue, otherwise it wouldn't have been here in the paper. So maybe at your next meeting, maybe we actually should have a bit of a discussion about it, because it seems to be, it's becoming an issue, and we see it around even where we are, that feral cats are a real problem. And because I live right next to the river, that's where they're coming from. So it may be in conjunction with why our bird numbers are down as well. So maybe next time we'll have a discussion about it.
I think, can I speak to that, Ian? We did talk about this operational plan for actions to come out of it that needed to be in the plan, at which it's not. There's no actual operational work being done on cats, is that correct? It's there, people are aware of it. I think they call it on-site, site-specific. I knew it was site something. Thank you, Ian. Why don't you just come and talk to this? Please.
Good delegating.
Leave me floundering.
Nice and delegated chair.
You're doing well so far.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll have you on the team shortly. Through you, Chair. So it's a good question. What cats are an issue for the region. What you could invite staff to do is to bring back to you advice on control options in the future for cats. What we would have to do is bring feral cat control into our regional pest management plan, and then obviously resource it. So you would probably want to understand the whole picture around changing the plan, and then what would be required from a resourcing perspective to effectively engage in feral cat control before you chose to go any further. But we're happy to bring you that advice if that would help your conversations.
Right, sounds good for.
Yeah, sounds good. I think it's there's nothing as satisfying as catching something in your trap, whether it's a rat or a stoat or a feral cat. And I think if we actually maybe make these tools available and make the public aware of it, they may actually start to get involved. So pest control on arm's length, that doesn't cost us any money. I'm all for that.
Right.
Keeping in mind that we had quite an extensive, don't leave the table yet, Ian. We did have quite an extensive plan. I think Councillor Foley was very involved with looking at how the council could be more involved with possums and reducing that. And it really wasn't able to be progressed just with our priority being on flood control. But it's definitely still bubbling away, and we're actively working with communities to bring their possum levels under the, well, it's not recommended, but under the cap of how many possums are around. And it really is at farmer or at property owner level that they need to take responsibility. In our catchment, we're working at catchment level, looking at how we can get some economy of scale to manage a significant animal pest within our catchment. And we're working with the regional council, sorry, I just switched hats there, to progress that work as efficiently as we can.
Right.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing about it next meeting. Great, thank you. Councillor Roadley, are there any other questions on that paper or from that meeting? There are none. Councillor Roadley, you'd like
Yes,
to
I'd
move?
very much like to move that.
And Councillor Van Beek, second. Anything further to say? There is none. All those who agree, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Moving on to item 9, councillors' remuneration and allowances for the year coming.
Through you, Chair, councillors, this paper sets out the remuneration is set by the Remuneration Authority. So councillors clearly don't have the ability to set their own remuneration. It's set by an authority. That is detailed in this paper, including salary for the chair, mileage allowances, and base salaries for councillors. There is more limited discretion around a pool, which is proposed to be distributed evenly amongst those councillors who have additional responsibilities. So it's all set out in the paper. I'm happy between myself and Leanne to take any questions.
Thank you, Nick. And just to make clear, it's consistent with how the setup was at the start of the term. This is just essentially aligning with the remuneration authority's changes.
Indeed, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Got a Councillor Harding.
Kia ora, Chair. Look, a question for the Chief Executive, I guess. And just for clarity on the period, as a new councillor, not experienced in this, is that 3.64% for a 3-year term? So this is or is there an annual process? Because this is the first one we've seen, I think, as I recall.
Through you, Chair, I'll check with the but I understand it's an annual process that the Remuneration Authority carries out.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, can I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Harding and Councillor Curtin. Would you like to speak any further, Councillor Harding?
Yes, I would. And at risk of putting words in the mouth of a colleague who was intending to be here but can't be, Councillor Williams, did express offline a disinterest in taking the increase and inclination, and I apologise to all and sundry if I misquote Councillor Williams, but I think if he was here, say that he wasn't inclined to take that increase and he'd prefer, but as councillors we are not, it's not a matter of discretion as to whether we do or not. It just happens, but he was inclined to give that back in some form, to return that back. So I just wanted to put that on the record as a marvellous gesture, and if that does happen, I'm prepared to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you,
And we can offline explore ways to do that.
Into road safety, he was keen.
Roads, yes, he did mention road safety.
Road
Anyway,
safety.
so we'll take that offline. But
Thank you, Councillor Harding. Councillor Curtin, any other speakers? There are none. All those who agree, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Moving on to item 10, councillor appointment of the Hawke's Bay Future Farming Charitable Trust Board. Nick.
Through you, Chair, Council has a role of providing a councillor to this board, largely to inform the Future Farming Trust Board of Council's views and act as a conduit back to the Council. So I understand this paper is looking to recommend that Councillor Foley has been in that role and would be no?
No, that's okay. We've had prior discussions,
You've had prior
councillor.
discussion? I will
So-
stop there, but you make a recommendation. I got a
That's fine.
sense of a vibe, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should stop.
Just to provide some context, Councillor Foley was a trust member, and we actually have a Councillor Zan Harding there, so if we can just note that he's already a trustee. But I guess this is the councillor's decision on who they would like to nominate from within our colleagues group. So this is really a call for nominations if there are no specific questions. Councillor Curtin.
Nominate Di Roadley for the position.
Thank you. And can I have a seconder? Councillor McIntosh. Fantastic. Di Roadley, would you accept that position? Would you go
Yes, Chair,
ahead?
I would be very pleased to accept that position,
Thank you, Councillor Roadley.
nomination.
Thank you. Councillor Harding, did you have something? to
Yeah,
add?
sorry, just an apology. Probably I should have declared an interest
Conflict.
at the beginning.
That's okay.
I'm
we
not
can
sure whether
note
it's a
it.
conflict, but an interest,
Yeah,
and
an interest.
given the circumstances, I won't vote on
Thank
this.
you. We'll just note that as a conflict now. Thank you. Councillor Curtin, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just very briefly, Madam Chair, I think the future of the Future Farming Trust needs to take into account the direction of travel of council more directly. It's a great opportunity, I see, and I'm very, very pleased to see two councillors there to represent their position, but it can be a very influential tool and mechanism for us, particularly in, if you like, the land for life space, etc., to transform our landscape, and I expect them to come back with a transformed landscape.
Appreciate it. Councillor McIntosh?
No, just to say I think Councillor Roadley has exemplary skills for the role, particularly in a very pragmatic approach to the sorts of things the Future Farming Trust will confront. So I strongly endorse her.
Councillor Foley?
Thanks, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Roadley, for accepting that nomination, and well done, and wish you all the best. The Hawke's Bay Future Farming Trust, is the perfect partner to Regional Council and the work it does, because the outcomes are the same outcomes we're striving for around environment, but as well as productivity for farmers and so on. So, just wish you all the best and look forward to continuing to see the good work and progress that the Trust makes. To both of you, Councillor Harding and Councillor Roder, thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? All those who agree say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you, Councillor Roadley, and abstain from Councillor Harding. Thank you, Di. Team, that is it for decision items. We move on to the information and performance monitoring items. The first is a verbal update from the 4th of September Māori Committee meeting.
Thank
Kia
you.
ora, Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the councillors. Just a verbal update. So first and foremost, on behalf of the Māori Standing Committee, and also for people on the Regional Planning Committee, Māori mana whenua members, we just really want to reinforce our tautoko of the councillors and their decision to pursue the continuation of Māori wards. Was greatly appreciated and recognised by both committees. We started the day off with a workshop, just looking at in regards to our relationships, how we can improve our relationships, our working relationships with council, and especially with our Māori Partnership Board, Māori Partnership Group, I believe that they call themselves. It's how can we maximise those relationships? It is a resource there. We believe of utilising that resource to the best of ability of ourselves as representatives of our communities, for the betterment of getting communications going both ways between mana whenua back to council and from council back down to mana whenua. It's also part of that. We've also looked into the Mātauranga Māori space and how that could be implemented potentially into a council framework. We understand that it's not going to be particularly straightforward. It does come with its own complications, even amongst ourselves as mana whenua. So there are different interpretations around that, but it's something that we believe that's important, that there's recognition around, Mātauranga Māori, as a illustration of that, and something that's quite poignant at this point in time, and that was in regards to the Wairoa Bar. And the comment was made that, perhaps councils should have listened to the views of locals. So when we take the view of Mātauranga Māori, we have 1,000 years of Mātauranga Māori in regards to that bar. But so if that type of thinking came into that overall conversation, perhaps we might have been viewed in a different fashion. Other than that, the other one I really just wanted to highlight was just in regards to for yourself, Nick. I suppose there was appreciation of your engagement with mana whenua, and that you are making yourself available to us, which is extremely appreciated. Other than that, Madam Chair, it was actually business as normal.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah.
Yep. Are there any questions that you might want to ask of Mike on those topics?
I don't remember anything else on that matter.
No, thank you, Leader feedback. Kia ora, Councillor Hokianga.
Wai tēnā koe, mātua mai, me au nā kōrero whakamārama mai ki a tātou i tēnei ahiahi. Tēnā koe, tēnā hoki kōtau te komiti Māori, tēnā anō hoki kōtau te RPC, nā kōtau whai kaha ki te tautoko i ngā tūru Māori, nō reira, tēnā kōtau. So just thanks for that verbal update, in particular around the Māori ward seats and acknowledging the council's position to keep our Māori ward seats. And just circling back around to the broad discussion of the Mātauranga Māori implementation and looking towards how does it become included in, I guess, the frameworks within the regional council. Acknowledging that we have our Māori committee, our RPC, our Māori partnerships team, and want to acknowledge that what you've raised about having that decent feedback loop, reciprocal feedback loop both ways, I guess. One of the things that we've acknowledged in previous meetings and workshops across the board is the role of Mātauranga Māori and a wayfinding approach. So I want to encourage a regular update for councillors on where that's at, because I think there's some perspectives that councillors that have been around a lot longer than myself anyway, that may be able to provide some of that experiential knowing in those discussions.
Thank you, Councillor Hokianga. I think that's a great idea. Thank you. Thank you for that update, Mike. And I guess verbal update, do we need to receive that? Yeah, okay. Can I have
It's
a
worthwhile
mover?
receiving.
A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Hokianga and Councillor Harding. All those who agree, say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Kia ora. Since there are no minor items on the agenda, we will head into public excluded. For that item, Councillor Van Bank, you're happy to move. Councillor Hokianga, second. All those who agree, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. We head into